What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Jake Paul, aka the Problem Child, has a new opponent lined up for August 6th at the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden. He will take on Hasim Rahman. And I give you my opinion on Rahman as an opponent, as a replacement opponent for Tommy Fury, aka Tommy Fumbles. But before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out to Rich, the fight historian. Did a great documentary about a week ago. I watched it last night on Wilfred Benitez, the Fifth King. Now, you know that documentary came out about a year ago, The Four Kings. And it chronicled the rivalry between those four great champions. They all fought each other. Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, and Marvin Hagler. It should have been a fifth king in that equation. It goes by the name of Wilfred Benitez. Great fighter. He defeated Roberto Duran, aka Hands of Stone. Lost a competitive fight to Sugar Ray Leonard. He got stopped in the 15th round, but he gave a good account of himself in that fight. And he lost a very competitive fight to Thomas Hitman Hearns. That fight took place in the Big Easy, New Orleans, at the Superdome. He never got a chance to fight Marvin Hagler. I would have liked to see how that matchup would have played out. That fight kind of goes along the same line of fights that didn't get made. For example, Bernard Hopkins versus James Toney, Juan Manuel Marquez versus Eric Morales, Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis. You know, we never got Sugar Shane Mosley versus Felix Trinidad. You know, we got De La Hoya versus Mosley, De La Hoya versus Trinidad. You know, we never got those fights. We never got the fight between Sugar Shane Mosley versus Ike Quartet. That would have been a great matchup. A lot of great matchups did not get made. But, you know, that's just the history of boxing, man. A lot of great fights did not get made for one reason or another. A lot of times those fights should have been made, but due to the political divisions in boxing, prevented those fights from actually getting made. Wilder versus Joshua. Don't look like that fight's going to happen, especially if Joshua loses to Usyk. I don't think they're going to put Joshua in there with nobody serious. He's just going to basically be a UK domestic level heavyweight fighting in front of big crowds in the UK, you know, fighting guys like Babbitt and, you know, maybe the Parker rematch. You know, fighters of that caliber. He'll be getting, you know, fighting Chisora, you know, Dillian White, those guys. You'll never see him there trying to take on the best of the best in the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, guys of those stature. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. But Jake Paul has a new opponent. He goes by the name of Hasim Rahman Jr. Now, a lot of people say, oh, he's actually fighting a real boxer. Tommy Fury wasn't no real boxer. He was in the same category with Jake Paul. He's a reality star turned boxer. He's in the same boat, riding in the same boat that Jake Paul was riding in. But I'm here to tell you right now, man, Hasim Rahman, no disrespect to him personally, but he trash. Not a good fighter. You know, not a good fighter. He gasses out in fights. He ain't no dog. He don't want to engage. He pot shots on the outside at times. Does a lot of holding. Jake Paul gonna murk Hasim Rahman Jr. That's what's gonna happen in this fight, man. It's a good name that's gonna be on his resume. It's a good step up from Tyron Woodley. He's actually fighting a boxer. But people saying, oh, Rahman is a better opponent than Tommy Fury. I don't know that. Tommy Fury ain't nothing to write home about, don't get me wrong. But Rahman is trash, man. I think Tommy Fury is just as limited, but he gonna come to fight. He gonna try. Rahman, he ain't got no dog in him, man. He like I said, he wants a pot shot. He wants a pot shot on the outside. He ain't really trying to be active round by round. He's throwing limited punches. He's trying to stay on the outside. He don't want to engage. Anytime his opponent start throwing punches, he start holding. He stay on the ropes too much. Just is gonna be an easy night at the office for Jake Paul, in my opinion. Like I said, you know, he's got the respect of fighting a guy with a famous last name, just like he would have if he would beat Fury. But Rahman is the son of former heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman. But as far as skill set goes, is he a good fighter? He's no different than Tommy Fury. I actually would give Tommy Fury more credit than Hasim Rahman, because Tommy Fury is a limited fighter. He's a robotic fighter. He's not a guy that with a lot of skill, but he does come to win. And he's coming forward. He ain't fighting off the back foot. He ain't looking to do all that holding like Hasim Rahman does. Now, Hasim Rahman is not a fan-friendly fighter. But as far as a last-minute replacement, I can't knock it. But after this fight, man, he's got to get in there with a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or Addison Silva in his next fight. He's got to fight somebody that's really a threat, man. Because this here, man, you know, this fight with Rahman, outside of his namesake, this is a trash opponent, in my opinion. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's the latest news on Tommy Fury and Jake Paul falling by the wayside. And once again, now Jake Paul since got on Twitter and went back and forth with Tommy Fury earlier today, saying that he will give him $500,000 to fight him in the UK after he's through with his fight on August 6th. And Tommy Fury shot that offer down, saying he's not interested. But Tommy Fury is a guy that, in my opinion, did not want to take the fight simply for the fact that his daddy couldn't enter the U.S. He did not have enough confidence in himself to go over in the U.S. and fight a fighter with the skills and the resume of a Jake Paul. Say what you want to say about him. The guy's got power. He's seen what he did to Tyrone Woodley in the second fight. He wanted to have his I's dotted and his T's crossed. He wanted to have his team with him to give him advice in the fight, before the fight, and get him prepared to go to the fight and win the fight. And he didn't have a lot of confidence if his team wasn't there, in particular his dad. With all that being said, if I'm Jake Paul, man, I would never, ever send Tommy Fury an offer. I would never, ever fight Tommy Fury. I would never, ever try to fight Tommy Fury. Because it's the second time that he done weaseled his way out of the fight. The first time he said he had a chest infection and a broken rib. We didn't see any documents supporting that. I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but we didn't see any medical evidence saying that he actually had these two injuries. And then here now he's saying he can't get into the U.S. He was just down here a couple of weeks ago. He came down here and fought on the Jake Paul undercard in Cleveland, Ohio. All of a sudden he can't get in now. What's changed since when he came here and fought on the Jake Paul undercard and now? What's changed? Has he gotten into some kind of trouble with the laws up in the UK or in the US? I haven't heard of anything, so I don't know what's changed. I just don't think he really wanted to come over here and fight Jake Paul without his head trainer, aka his dad, John Fury. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But if I'm Jake Paul, I would never, ever give him another opportunity. I would be just like Errol Spence Jr. saying with Keith Thurman. I ain't never fighting Keith Thurman. If I'm Jake Paul, whenever they do a press conference, if they do a press conference or they do a press conference right before the fight August 6th, I would tell everybody, hey, Tommy Fury fumbled the bag twice. I would never give him another opportunity to fight me. He's going to have to make his name off of somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do. But he seems to still be trying to make the fight happen with Tommy Fury. Or he's doing what he always do, being one of the biggest trolls in boxing, saying, I give you $500K after I get through with Rahman, we can fight in the UK. But that's a big pay cut for the $2 million he was supposed to get to fight Jake Paul on August 6th. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard.Briscoe.3551. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.